Hello everyone, welcome to Hearthstone Meta Hype. I am Eaglehorn 100 with my friend Venga Dragon. How's it going, Venga?
Oh, I am doing well and hyped up as usual, and we got some great things to talk about, especially that giveaway that we got going on, man. I am just hyped up. What's up? Tell us about it.
Oh yeah, the giveaway. So basically what's going to happen is, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, it'll be in the description. There'll be a link to a website, and all you have to do is follow Venga and me on Twitter and YouTube, and it enters you into a raffle for a giveaway, and the winners will be announced in about 2 weeks. You know, we need to have some time to reach out to the people that win, so we can get their information, so we can give them the codes. We can't have it go any longer than that. But yeah, we're giving away 2 expansion bundles, one basically from each of us, and that is the plan. So if you want a free bundle, go ahead, hit the link down below, and yeah, I don't think I missed anything. Do you have any announcements?
No, that's you got it all covered. I mean, $49.99 is what the bundle goes for. We're giving away 2, so let's just round it up to $100 in prizes for the Hearthstone Meta Hype, and just getting that link below. Make sure that you give this video a like and also subscribe to Ecor and get that done. So let's go.
Okay, so what we're talking about today is saying goodbye to all of the cards that are leaving, and it's just going to be running through all of the important cards, not all of the cards, because I think like over 100 cards are leaving. We're going to talk about the important ones and how they're going to affect the class as a whole. So I'm ready if you are.
I am ready, yeah.
Okay, so the first one is Demon Hunter, and looking at Demon Hunter, I actually don't think it's losing anything that important. All of the cards that are leaving are cards that haven't really seen that much play at all. The only kind of impactful cards are Satyr Overseer and the Glavebound Adept, but for the past like 3 or 4 months, I've seen these cards almost 0 times. Maybe in like an aggro deck, I've seen the Satyr Overseer once or twice, but other than that, basically nothing. The real stuff that goes away starts being important at Druid. So, Druid is losing several cards, and the 3 most impactful cards, in my opinion, are Moonfire, Savage Roar, and Swipe, with an honorable mention for Starfall as well. And the reason why this is important is because with these cards going out of the meta, it basically means, okay, Savage Roar's leaving, so Token Druid's going to be a little bit worse. It won't have the burst. Obviously, they still have Arbor up, but without Savage Roar, the burst is significantly limited. And losing Swipe and Moonfire means that you don't really have good removal or that OTK potential if you have spell damage, which is another archetype that Druid has had commonly, like Malagos Druid, which means that I think the main archetype that'll be pushed now is going to be just ramp into big minions. And I personally don't like ramp into big minions. I feel like they do nothing, cheat out 2-3 extra mana, then summon some big things, and they either win if they get ramp or lose if they don't. I've never really liked the style of gameplay that's like you win if you get this card, you lose if you don't, but I think that's the direction they're really going with Druid, unless they get some really new stuff with the next expansion. What are your thoughts on the cards I just mentioned?
Well, I'm smiling because like I make my entire stream and everything based on Big Venga, Big Venga Dragon, big decks and things, and I do totally understand what you're saying about, you know, that you're not like totally a fan of the archetype. Like, I totally get that. I happen to like some of the archetype because it does there is an element of control. I don't necessarily like the idea of just being able to cheat out stuff for free and kind of like that sense, but I do like the idea of big control minions. But with Swipe, I mean, and Starfall,
huge. And Starfall, they have no AoE now. They basically lose to aggro decks.
But it was kind of like, in like some degree, like what we were talking about is like the Druid in general, though, it not like you do run Starfall because you run Starfall if you try to create like a new archetype, and Swipe if you're trying to like control the board and stuff. And so it really is. This is weird because Druid virtually had no removal, and now it has no removal.
It has 0.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, kind of makes sense. They're just all in on big minions.
Yeah.
And it kind of I don't know. It kind of makes sense, but it's also really weird to see them go because it leaves Druid really vulnerable.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's like what archetype is going to come, because traditionally the spells have not really been all that awesome in Druid. Like they're getting better, like with some of the ones that generate spells and the healing, and those are leaving as well. So it's just
that's true. Also leaving like healing touch that heals as well.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think that one's as important, but I used to run Healing Touch in my Highlander Druid just for a little bit of extra survivability. But yeah, I feel like Druid just loses a decent amount of identity, but it is nothing compared to Hunter.
Yeah.
Like, so I think Druid gets hit pretty hard, but Hunter gets absolutely gutted. Like, Hunter will not be the same after this. For those of you
it's funny, in the year of the Griffin, a beast, they're destroying the
beast class.
The beast classes. Like even Druid is kind of the beast class, right? The woods and the forest and the beast are just getting nailed. So what were you gonna say? Because I just had to jump in.
I was just gonna say Hunter's getting absolutely gutted. Like Hunter will not be the same after this. It loses 4 of its most iconic cards: Animal Companion, Eaglehorn Bow, Kill Command, Unleash the Hounds. And it's losing 2 secrets, Misdirection and Snipe. So 2 of its biggest identities, secrets, and all those 3 mana like beast/secret synergy cards with Eaglehorn Bow being a weapon to just do damage. All these cards are gone. Also Houndmaster, which kind of hurts Beast Hunter. Excuse me. But like some of its most iconic cards that are used all the time are gone. And I don't know where Hunter goes from here. Because they basically murdered Smork Hunter, so which you could say is a good thing, right? Because just going pure face every game, hero powering, kill commanding face, Eaglehorn Bowing, and trying to end the game in 6 turns, it wasn't the most fun. So it kind of makes sense, but rather than nerf it, but to just get rid of basically every card that makes it work in the mid-range, like... That's terrible. I don't know what direction they're going to go with Hunter. I think Hunter, unless they get a lot of support in this next expansion, will be played very little. I think it's going to be one of the weakest classes with its core set of really good cards going away. Unless, like I said, a new archetype comes out that pushes something different. Like, you know, with Galakrond's Awakening and whatnot, there was Dragon Hunter that didn't really run these cards. But those cards are all leaving too. Which, you know, isn't the fault of the core set. That's just the normal cycle of every 2 years. But, like, it's losing its dragon synergy. It's losing its core cards of the mid-range stuff that I just mentioned. It's getting absolutely destroyed. And Hunter's my most played class, so I'm kind of, like, extra disappointed about this, actually.
Well, if you look at Hunter, again, like Ecor said, I mean, just, like, talk about an overhaul. Like... Flare, Hunter's Mark, Misdirection, Snipe, Animal Companion. When you mentioned Animal Companion,
it's the most played Hunter card in the game, by the way. Yeah,
like,
it was up until like very recently. Like Phase Stalker, I think beat it after a while, but
the class, like, it's just there's too many cards to list. So the class is just like, what will Hunter look like? And we'll talk about that in the second segment, like of the things that we want to see. So we're gonna talk about that. But yeah, this is amazing. And you know what? If I wasn't looking at what you're showing me and what you're telling me, I would just say you're lying. You're messing with me. There's no way.
At least one of these cards has to stick around. There's no way they can get rid of Animal Companion. Like
it's shocking.
It's one of the most iconic cards in Hearthstone. Like Always Huffer is a meme within Hearthstone, and they're getting rid of it. Like it blows my mind. It actually does.
It does, and I mean, even Houndmaster makes its way back in sometimes. It's like
in a really budget Beast Hunter deck. I mean, I haven't played it in about a year, but a year ago I tried to make a super budget Beast Hunter deck, and I've had Houndmaster in there.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's pretty sad.
It is. It's crazy. That is just insane. Okay, so the next class.
Mage, actually. Mage is losing a decent amount of stuff, too. It's losing its whole freeze package, basically. Frostbolt, Frost Nova, and Blizzard, along with Ray of Frost, which obviously is going because it's 2 years old, but still, the whole freeze package is gone, along with Sorcerer's Apprentice. So I
told you.
Okay, you actually read about the Sorcerer's Apprentice. That was crazy.
And Tony, my God, they're getting rid of Tony. What are they doing? Tony is going. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
I don't know. I feel like Mage is... Like, I've never really been a fan of Freeze Mage. It just, like, without removing my board, it just stopped me from being able to do anything. It was kind of annoying. And I was like, okay, they're probably going to go for more of a burn mage kind of thing, right? And then they got rid of Sorcerer's Apprentice too, which is pretty important in, like, a burn mage. So I think what they're going to be pushing is more of a secret mage, even though they're getting rid of some secrets and the Kirin Tor mage and the Ethereal Arcanist, which basically are all the secret mage cards. I think that there is still enough support for secret mage that they're probably going to push that direction, especially because they're bringing back the 2-mana 2/3, the Arcanologist.
Wait a minute. Polymorph? Is Polymorph leaving the from Mage as well?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
It is. Wait, I didn't even see that card. I'd skipped over that card entirely, but yeah, our Polymorph is also gone.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That's crazy. Frostbolt, Polymorph. Oh, that is crazy. Yeah, this is exciting. It's exciting because it could be either the most epic fail or the greatest changes of all time. Like for Mage players, you're probably crying right now. I mean, maybe, I have no idea. It's not as bad as Hunter, but wow. I mean, we can
in terms of like how hard classes got hit, I think Hunter's number 1 and Mage I think might be number 2.
Yeah,
although I think that there is one other class, we haven't gotten into it yet, but one other class that might compete. And then Druid is like a solid 3rd. It loses a lot, but not as much as Hunter or Mage has.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Mage loses a little bit for every single archetype.
It's like the hits keep coming here. Like we're like it's either getting worse and worse, or like the worst gets better. Meaning it's like, well, this class didn't get hit too hard, but like after Hunter, I don't think I can really ever recover, because that's massive destruction right there to the class. So, yeah. What's the next one? What do you think? Or you have anything more about Mage that you want to go with?
No, nothing more about Mage. Just the archetype's probably going to be more of a burn mage. Actually, we also lost Arcane Missiles, so Burn Mage is going to be harder too. Like, they lost all their damage, they lost their freeze, they lost several secrets, they lost Polymorph for control. I don't know where they're going to push this. I think Secret Mage is the direction they want to go, because like I said, they are bringing back the new 2-drop card that draws a secret from your deck, and Secret's kind of strong right now, but it's going to be kind of iffy. But anyway, Paladin. Paladin's fine. Paladin loses basically nothing. Like, the most impactful card Paladin loses is, like, Hammer of Wrath, I guess. Maybe Lay on Hands and Avenging Wrath. But those, nobody really plays those anyway. The only card I've seen played of those is Avenging Wrath, and it was a 1-of, because it comboed with Libram of Justice really well. But even then, like, it's not really played. Paladin goes by basically unscathed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, and it's...
Yeah, it loses nothing.
And, there's just... like Sword of Justice maybe would have been, like, believe it or not, if it with the current cards in there, Sword of Justice
might have been good in Dude Paladin, I guess, maybe, or in aggro, but not really.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So it's the Paladin. Here we go. It's going to be a Paladin meta, and the ever. Well,
I don't think it's going to be a Paladin meta yet. We haven't gotten to all the other classes, and we don't know what new cards are coming out. But
I was right on Sorcerer's Apprentice, and I'm right on this one.
Okay.
Period. Show over.
Okay, we'll see. I think Paladin will be strong though, but I don't know if it's going to be the most dominant yet. But then we go to Priest, and Priest is interesting because I don't think Priest loses anything super impactful either. Like, it loses Thoughtsteal and Mindvision, but that's not even that bad. Like, it basically is just saying, okay, Priest, you can't steal a win condition anymore. I have no problem with that. And I think it's just better for the health of Priest as a whole. The cards that I am a little bit sad to see go, though, are Mass Dispel and Silence. Because, and this is just something that you'll see in one or two other classes, they're getting rid of Silence cards. They're also getting rid of charge cards, which again we'll talk about in like 5 minutes. But they're getting rid of some mechanics that generally are pretty important, like charge, which means aggro decks are going to be gone. But right now we're talking about silence, and silence is one of the things that I thought made Priest good. Obviously, they're getting a new silence card, I think, with the new expansion, so hopefully they get a little bit more. But losing Mass Dispel, like, that's a card I still run, because it's really good to try to Mass Dispel or silence, let's say, like a Rattlegore, or a card with the Librams of Wisdom on it. Like, if I can silence one of those, that's actually huge, because it's one of their win conditions gone. So getting rid of silence, I think, is kind of bad, actually.
It
like
is.
It's just one of those counterplay mechanics that has some skill expression, and was honestly one of my favorite things about Priest. I didn't like Res Priest that much. I mean, I didn't mind it, but Res Priest was pretty hated. I hated the random generation and stealing cards aspect, but silence, I was like, this kind of makes sense. This works with Priest. It's their unique control, like, keyword, basically. It's something that they can also use on themselves to silence their own minions, because there was that silence aggro priest for a little while, and now they're just getting rid of it, and I am a little bit disappointed.
Yeah, well, the Mass Dispel I can see, because that, believe it or not, that's a pretty overpowered card. A lot of people actually kind of hate that card because it's really, really strong. Think about it. 4 mana.
But it's also really weak in some places. It's like high risk, high reward. You either play it for a 4 mana, draw 1, and do nothing, or you Mass Dispel a board where the opponent overcommitted, and you punish them for it. Right. Like, I'd say Brawl's probably better. It's 1 mana more to straight up kill the minions. But I'm sorry, go. Sorry.
No. I think it's just it's a card that could push to the finish. Like, if you're trying to drive some kind of tempo archetype in Priest, which people are talking about, like that there might be a little bit more tempo driven. Like, the Mass Dispel was always nice because if your opponent were to put up two taunts or whatever, and you were pushing towards a finish, you could Mass Dispel and kind of punch through. Buff a minion or whatever. Yeah. But a lot of the cards that made that more tempo and say OTK have left the Priest. So Priest is going to get an overhaul. It kind of, in a good way. I think Thoughtsteal and Shadow Madness and also Mind Games are cards that, like, kind of, we've talked about this, where why is the Priest steal? And you had said that they don't necessarily steal. They just really use the sense.
Yeah. And they just use the opponent's win condition because they don't have their own identity right now.
Yeah. And so it's like it kind of helps there, because like I said, I believe her. I'm not kidding. I got beat by a Priest that stole all my Cthulhu cards and played Cthulhu. It did Shadow
that almost
of Madness.
Happened to me, actually. And I had one steal 3 pieces, and I was like, "There's no way he steals the 4th," and he didn't.
He stole the 4th piece. They stole the 4th piece and played it against me, and then used Raise Dead. The other day,
back.
No, the other day someone used Raise Dead on Cthulhu and got him back.
Oh my god. That's so stupid. There's no way.
I must have killed like 40 of their minions, like, that were mine. You know what I'm saying? They had taken all my minions. And you ended up winning
the game, didn't you?
I did win the game because I was playing Big Warrior.
Okay.
And I had enough of
armor and big minions.
Yeah, enough armor to actually
live.
To live against 2 Cthulhu's.
That's crazy. Wow. Okay. That's. Yep. Okay. I'm not even that upset that Priest is losing these cards, honestly.
Yeah. Next class. Let's go.
So you have Big Warrior with Cthulhu parts? That actually works because he's not a minion. I might try that actually. Hold up.
Yeah.
In a future video.
Yeah. But, it's not great, but it's okay.
I think Big Warrior's fine. Anyway, let's just move on to Rogue. I'm really upset with Rogue. I'm not going to talk about Edwin because we've known he's leaving for a long time. But the cards that I want to talk about are Eviscerate and Sap. I'm kind of upset that Rogue is losing. It's not losing Backstab, Shadow Step, or Prep. And I've said multiple times that free cards are some of the most problematic, unhealthy cards in the game. There needs to be some downside to playing stuff, or just nerf the cards in some way. Like make Shadow Step have the card cost 1 less instead of 2. But instead, they let those cards go completely unchecked, and that means that Rogue is going to be extremely powerful in the thing to come. When you were saying it's a Paladin meta, I don't think it's going to be a Paladin meta. I think it's going to be a Rogue meta, at least for a little while, until people counter it. But right out of the gate, I think Rogue is going to be the most powerful. Because its Stealth Rogue loses nothing. It loses Eviscerate, I'll give you that, but it keeps Sinister Strike, not Sap, but I only ran 1 copy of Sap in it anyway, and you can relatively easily replace some of these cards, I think, with some other tech cards, like you could run a Prize Plunderer instead of some of these cards, and just go for some extra damage. But yeah, they're losing Eviscerate and Sap, which I will admit are decent nerfs to Rogue. But I've had people ask me, do you think that Aggro Rogue is still going to be good without Eviscerate and Sap? And I've just said yeah, because those are the only 2 cards that deck is losing. And Eviscerate is going to hurt Rogue overall quite a bit. And Sap is really efficient removal. So this is definitely a nerf to Rogue. I just would have also liked to have seen at least 1 of the free cards get removed. Not all 3, because Rogue is known for cheap cards and combos. But maybe just get rid of just Shadow Step, or just Prep, or Backstab, or nerf them in some way. Like make Shadow Step, make it cost only 1 less, like I said.
Well,
but that's just me.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say that Sap is leaving, but the 1/2 that...
But the 1/2 Blackjack Stunner is staying, which also makes this potentially a little less bad, because if you need to run a Sap, you have the minion that basically saps them and makes it cost 1 more. So it doesn't even end up losing that much either. Like, I don't know. I'm very underwhelmed with what Rogue is losing, considering the fact that it's been one of the highest win rate, most played classes for the past, 8 months. Like, even though you could, I say like a lot, I should probably stop. But anyway, as I've been saying, Rogue has been one of the most played classes, at least in higher Legend, just because World Kick Rogue is amazing. Aggro Stealth Rogue and just Aggro Rogue in general with its weapons are really powerful. And the fact that and Paladin, which is the highest win rate class overall right now, just across all ranks, considering the 2 most powerful classes are losing nothing, is kind of scary to me. Because that's the other thing about Paladin. When you said it's going to be a top class, it definitely will. I mean, it's a top class right now, and it loses nothing. I don't know. I'm just bummed that those are the only 2 cards that are leaving from Rogue that are good.
This looks like Secret Rogue is going to be pushed, right? Because
probably I think that would be cool-ish. I guess.
So
less toxic than just pure aggro.
Next up is the Druid.
No, Shaman. We did Druid.
I'm sorry.
I don't think Shaman loses that much. I mean, it loses Bloodlust, which is kind of big. I will admit that is the biggest card that not Druid. Sorry, now you got me saying it. That Shaman is losing. It loses. You could say that Lava Burst is also important. I'd say Lava Burst is also up there. It just basically loses some of its aggro or burst. And then the last thing is it loses Earth Shock, and that's just. I'm just throwing that in there to say that it loses a Silence and Frost Shock because it loses Freeze. They're getting rid of the Freeze and the Silence cards, and also cards that make this class what it is, like Bloodlust and Lava Burst. I feel like Shaman's in a bad spot right now already, and it losing some of its best 1-cost cards. In fact, I think Earth Shock and Frost Shock are its best 1-cost cards, except...
I agree.
For Guidance now. Guidance is the 1 cost that gets you 2 cards, basically. Yeah. I think that card is also pretty solid. You could say that Shaman still has Devolving Missiles, so it's fine, but it loses some of its best 1-cost cards. It loses its late-game burst, and I think it's kind of just kicking it when it's down. Unless they really are going to buff Shaman in this next expansion, it's losing some pretty decent stuff. I mean, it is actually seeing a buff to Lightning Storm and Feral Spirits. This is just a side note. Those cards aren't leaving. They're actually getting buffed a little bit by +1 damage for Lightning Storm, just 3 damage across the board, and only 1 overload for Feral Spirits. But I don't think those buffs are enough to make up for the fact that Shaman is losing cards that are so important.
Yeah. Well, Bloodlust is a big one because
Bloodlust is huge, yeah.
Yeah, that just kind of that takes away a lot. The thing is the cards that like Bloodlust and that one in particular, Bloodlust and even Lava Burst is decent to get rid of. I'll tell you why, because they deal 5 damage for 3 mana, and the fact that you can lot. Yeah, it's a lot of damage, and the overload doesn't matter when you have spell damage and things, and some of the shaman minions are spell damage, and so it kind of and also you get to overload and ramp up mana as well, so you could do a lot of really big end game damage, and I think that it's sort of taking away the aggressive. So aggressive shaman is going to be gone because of like, and token shaman has kind of been gotten rid of as well. So that's pretty much that for me on shaman. I think we can move to the next one, but yeah, it looks like it got hit pretty hard.
Next class we have is Warlock, and Warlock actually doesn't lose that much. It loses basically Soulfire and Voidwalker, which really only hurts Zoolock. You could say that losing Sacrificial Pact is kind of impactful, but with Galakrond leaving and no longer summoning a ton of 1/1 imps, I don't think it's that important. And none of the other Warlock cards are actually that good, from what I see, that are leaving. So, yeah, Warlock loses basically nothing. If there's anything I missed, please let me know. Do you think Warlock is losing anything important?
Well, from the classic set, it hasn't really lost much. Like Soulfire has been a staple for some OTKs, and also right now in Zoolock. That's pretty big. Voidwalker is like a staple. It's kind of like you'll miss it because it is a really very, very good card.
And it's a 1-mana 1/3 with a tribe and taunt. So it's just
exactly.
Really strong.
So it's a really good card. The thing is that I believe that Saviors of Old Doom or I think it was Rise of Shadows had the 1 mana board clear, which is it's not the classic one.
Plague of Flames.
Plague of Flames, yes, Plague of Flames, which I play all the time and I can't remember the name, but yes, it's Plague of Flames, and so I was losing that. So there'll be some other things that'll be before it, but yeah, it hasn't really lost much. In fact, it's gained a lot.
The, like, classic set, basically.
Yeah,
like it'll lose a lot from the year's normal rotation, but not from this.
Yeah, not much. Yeah, so I don't have much more to say.
Sorry. There's not really much to say about Warlock. It goes mostly unscathed, except for Soulfire and I guess kind of Voidwalker. But I think the class that gets gutted, and you know how I said at the beginning, I think it goes Hunter, another class, and then Druid, along with Mage. Well, that other class was Warrior. Warrior is losing a lot of really important cards. It's losing Inner Rage, so burst potential is gone. It loses upgrades, so weapon Warrior is going to be a little bit worse. It loses Rampage, so drawing cards is going to be harder. It loses Shield Block, which is one of the most staple cards in all of Warrior. And it's also losing Korkron Elite, which also loses some burst. It's losing several powerful cards, not to mention Risky Skipper is rotating out with this next expansion just because it's 2 years old. Warrior is getting absolutely blasted right now, and I don't know the direction they're going to take it. I think that they're probably going to focus more on just aggro, because you're losing weapon stuff. Or not aggro, just control, because they're losing weapon, they're losing charge and inner rage, they're losing their Arcanite Reaper, Mortal Strike, and Heroic Strike, which are all the damage-based things. The only control card that's really leaving is Shield Block, and if they come up with even just 1 extra armor replacement, that's fine. I think that they're going to try to push towards control. I think they're done with like the Enrage, Bursty, Charge kind of thing, and giant weapons. And they're just going to focus on Control Warrior, which makes sense, But I don't know. I would have liked to have seen at least some of the aggro stuff stay. I'm a little bit sad, but it's yeah.
Menagerie is Menagerie Warrior is what I would think that you'll see.
Menagerie. I always call it Managiri, but it's Menagerie. I mispronounce it every single time, and I get made fun of in chat every single time.
Well, what's funny is I have the same, so I could be wrong. It could be what you say anyway.
I don't think it is, but we'll see. Whatever it is, put in the chats. Put in the chat which one's right.
I say menagerie. It's probably menagerie, like some kind of French thing, French fries or something. All right, yeah, I'm agreeing with you. The Warrior is definitely going to change a lot. So
yeah,
and this is just a classic set. So I mean, Bomb Warrior is gone. We talked about that already.
Bomb Warrior is gone. Also, which is so sad. Risky Skipper, like I said, is gone. Probably one of the most important, impactful Warrior cards. And there are probably other ones that I'm forgetting are rotating, but it's probably losing even more. But yeah, the last thing is just the neutral cards. And this is just kind of a broad thing. It's losing basically all of its charge. Like I said, it's lost charge in several other classes. It's lost the Tundra Rhino for Hunter for charge. It lost Korkron Elite. I think there was one other charge that it's losing. Unleash the Hounds and Huffer. All gone. No more charge. And then when you go down here, it's losing every single charge you can think of. South Sea, Wolf Rider, Stormwind Knight, and Reckless Rocketeer. Just basically all the charge cards are gone, which I think is kind of good. I never really liked, I'm not going to say I never liked charge, but as aggro got stronger and stronger, I felt like charge became a little bit more and more unhealthy. So I'm kind of glad to see charge go, but it's also losing two other charge cards. It's losing the Stone Tusk Boar and what's it called? And the Bluegill Warrior. Both of those aren't being rotated out, but what's going to happen is they're going to be changed to rush instead of charge. So basically they're just getting rid of all the charge minions, which I think is cool, and the legendary dragons, which are being reprinted as different versions of what they are, but those are the general things that are getting removed. And then the last two cards that I think are the most impactful that are being removed, and if I miss anything, please let me know, is Doomsayer, which is just a really good control card, has been for the entire time it's been released, was really good in Freeze Mage, and now that we are getting rid of Freeze and Doomsayer, that's not going to happen anymore. Along with Questing Adventurer. Questing Adventurer is leaving, which means Rogue is getting nerfed pretty heavily, along with Edwin. So actually, you know how I was saying I was complaining about Rogue not losing that much? Now that I'm seeing that Questing Adventure is leaving, it's at least a little bit better. Rogue is still going to get tons of value, draw a ton of cards, and have aggro, but at least they're not going to get a big Questing Adventure at the same time. Also, Wild Pyromancer. I didn't see that one, but that one is probably the only other, important card that's leaving.
Oh man, Alarmobot is getting replaced. Oh no.
Oh, you're right. Shoot. Okay, my bad. I forgot. I didn't even realize the most important card in the game.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but I mean, I'm looking at South Sea Deckhand is one that is a good card as well. That is going to leave.
That was in the charge category. Yeah. All the charges are gone.
Yeah, the only reason I didn't really keep it in there is because it has charge while you have your weapon equipped. So that's kind of what I was thinking.
It was charged, but only for 3 classes.
Yeah, and
Rogue, Warrior, and Hunter, kind of.
Yep, and Murloc Warleader. So
true.
You're looking at Murloc is just completely, the archetype is changing. I mean, you have taunt minions that are now Murlocs because there's just a lot of different things. Remember the Crab Rider was just so powerful because of Murloc Warleader and also other things that you could buff it and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of the Murloc class or the Murloc tribe has taken a bit of a hit. Not just the class, the classes over in general, but the Murloc tribe has definitely taken a hit.
Yeah,
dragons look like it's going to be more of a focus. I haven't really seen much of a focus on On demons,
Twilight Drake.
Yeah, Twilight Drake might come back.
No, it's gone.
It's
Twilight
gone.
Drake is gone. Yeah, I forgot. You said dragons, and then I looked, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw Twilight Drake, and I was kind of sad.
Just a great card. It just because it's a 4 mana, could be a 4 mana 4/6, 4/7, 4/8, and
I really like Twilight Drake, man. I think it's one of my favorite cards, just in general, like in neutral, because it had some counterplay. Obviously, you could silence it, and a card like Earthshock could kill it, but at the same time, it also helped like control decks have some sort of big minion to put on the board to contest the board a little bit and not just get blown out. So the fact that it's gone makes me a little bit sad.
It's pretty much always playable on turn 4.
Yeah,
it's like a card that you just like always can play.
Yeah, and it's usually a 4/4 at minimum, but usually better. Like 90% of the time, 95, it's better than 4/4, and a 4/4 for 4 isn't even that terrible.
Yeah. So it's just a cool card. Plus, it has a dragon synergy, which helps out with a lot of the different cards that are in there. So
yeah, for sure.
Looks like the meta is really shaping up to change. I mean, obviously, with the core set leaving and everything, it's just going to be massive amounts of change, and I'm really looking forward to it. I know you are too, man. So
yeah, for sure. Well, that is it. That's all the cards that are leaving that we wanted to talk about. Obviously, there are cards that are changing, cards that are returning as well, cards that are returning and changing. But we don't have time to talk about all of those. We might talk about them in a future segment. But for now, as always, stay hyped, and I'll see you next time.